Hello, hello, travelers! Welcome in! Today, as you can see, we have Tales with Time. And of course, we're continuing our Dungeon Crawler Carl book. I believe we left off on chapter 13, so 14 should be next, if I remember correctly. And yes, of course, I have my usual rules up. Number one being no spoilers, be respectful, keep it cozy, and save long thoughts for pauses, as usual. Now, if I remember correctly, the last time we read it, they fought a boss. They fought, like, a dungeon boss, and it was, like a trash lady. That's like the only way I can put it. It was a trash lady. Like she was in a heap of trash and she summoned cockroaches and whatnot and all that fun stuff. And then Donut and Carl had learned that she was actually a person that the dungeon like transformed into a monster. So that's always fun. And then sorry if you can hear my dog. He's digging at my bed right now and tearing it up with his claws. Because he just loves doing that, and he's giving me the side eye while he does it. Yeah, are you done? Yeah, okay. But anyway, my choice of drink today is water. I didn't have any tea or anything today. I wasn't really feeling in the tea mood or anything like that. I've got a real busy day tomorrow, so I am streaming like a bit early today, like 30 minutes early. Because I want to try and get to bed a little bit early. Plus, I've been cleaning ever since I got home and being real busy. Can you stop digging at my bed, dude? There's not like I don't have any sheets on my bed right now because I'm washing all my like sheets and all that stuff right now. Oh, and my like model is horrendously lagging right now. But yes, and now he's just watching me. I don't have any sheets on there, so he's trying to like create, like, he usually creates like a nest of blankets, but I don't have any blankets on my bed right now, so he's just digging at my bed, and it's just great. He's just tearing my bed up. But yes, side note, I will not be streaming tomorrow because I will be working very late because I'm throwing a Halloween party for like 200 plus people, so that'll be nice and fun for me. And I will not be home for the entire day. So I will not be streaming tomorrow. I'll be too tired by the time I get home. And then I won't be streaming Saturday, but Sunday is the debut. I'm very excited, if you couldn't tell. But yes, definitely come and check that out on Sunday. It'll probably be usual time. I think I've decided it'll probably be 9 that I do it. So keep the later at night vibes. I've also noticing that, and I'm not sure if the stream's quite laggy for you all, but it looks like it might be a little bit laggy on my end. But I can't quite tell. Oh, it definitely does look laggy. Ooh, hopefully it won't be super laggy. I don't want it to be laggy. I'm watching it right now. Hopefully it doesn't get any worse. But yes, not much else to say really. I don't really think I have any good stories for today, honestly. Nothing really happened at work. I mean, I didn't do much of anything. We had like a fire alarm today. That was about it. We had like it was a drill. It was a fire drill. Not a fire alarm. We had a fire drill today. So that was real exciting for the kids. They got to have a lot of fun doing that. But otherwise, it's been a pretty chill day. I think my model keeps freezing and like unfreezing, so I think I may. Oh, thank you, Nina. Also, hello. I saw the redeem just now. I'm not sure if you just now sent it or what, but I did just see that now. So thank you. I did that. But yes, we will go ahead and get into the story then. I'm not gonna, again, I said it last time and the time before that, but I am not a professional reader. I'm gonna mess up. I don't do voices very well, but if you would like to hear like the actual like professional reading of this, it's really good. I definitely suggest buying the like audiobook or actually getting the book because it's a great book. I love it. It's one of my favorites. But yes, I think I'm also, before we start, I'm gonna change my model because this one seems to be not working out for me. So give me just a minute. There we go. This one seems a tad bit better. Just a tad bit. So we'll stick with this model today, I suppose. Hopefully it won't be as laggy. Ooh. I don't know. I could see my frame rate going up. I'm hoping it'll go down here though. I don't want it to go up. Let me double check real quick before we continue that I don't have to update my drivers. Let me just double check, because the last time this happened it was because of my drivers. So let me just look. Let me take a double peek at this and make sure it's not because I need to update anything. Oh, there we go. Let me see here. Any drivers? Nope, no, I don't have to update any drivers, so I don't know why it's being sucky tonight. Ooh. It should be fine. You will let me know if it keeps skipping out on you guys, right? Hopefully. It's my model is like real laggy today too. I can see it. It's okay. We're gonna be reading anyway. So we're gonna go ahead and get on to the next part here, and I'm gonna go ahead and start reading. All right. Oh, and of course an ad hit. That's real shit. The premiere of Dungeon Crawler World, Earth, was easily the most bizarre. Many viewers didn't like the VR version of the action, so they watched using a method where they had a bird's eye view, and they could zoom in and out and switch angles at will. We didn't have any of that. The show streamed on the center of the 3 televisions over the fast food counter. Oh. I said that wrong. The show streamed on the center of the 3 televisions over the fast food counter. Tally came out from around the back to sit with us at the booth to watch. 4,006,002. That's how many people were left with when the show premiered. The number continued to steadily tick down while the show aired. Whoa, hello, I just saw all those notifications just come in. I think I see that it's like frozen. Is it? Uh-oh. Hold on. Why are my frame rates going out of control? That's gonna drive me crazy. Oh my gosh, my frame rate. Why is my frame rate going crazy? What's happening? Dropped frame rates, yeah. Stream disconnected, reconnect, okay. Everything's good now? Everything's golden? Is it going? Hold on. Well, now I gotta, what do you mean, how dare me? Lemus, what are you saying how dare me for? Right now I'm trying to fix my freaking stream. It's being real wonky. It's like my frame rates are going wild. I didn't really start that much. Like the stream has been going real wonky. Like I haven't really been. I just started reading. Like I literally just started reading, and then I stopped because the like frame rate was going crazy. Yeah, I got booted too. So hopefully, maybe we should just restart the chapter, because I literally just started this chapter. I didn't get that far, so I think I might just restart it because I see that the frame rate is going back down. So we're gonna just try again. Hopefully it'll be fine. I don't know why the frame rate like spiked like that, but hopefully it's fine now. So we're gonna try again, and hopefully it'll be fine, okay? Hopefully it'll be fine, because if it starts spiking again, I might just have to try this stream again later. I'm guessing you still have not upgraded. I did. I literally checked my drivers just now, and they're fine. They're all updated and all that, so they're all good. They're all fine. Why is it saying that my frame rate is dropping below 25? Oh no, that was earlier. No, that's not a few seconds ago. Oh, last 2 minutes. Okay, well, I know that. All right. we're gonna restart chapter 14 because I think it booted a lot of people out during that part. So let's try again. The premiere of Dungeon Crawler World Earth was easily the most bizarre thing I'd ever witnessed in my life. Apparently, alien television shows were presented in a completely different way than a standard 2D television screen. Viewers were virtually placed within actual scenes as they happened. This virtual rendition and recap of the moments presented on the show were fully experienced by the viewers, including the smells and physical sensations, just short of feeling the actual pain. However, Tally explained many viewers didn't like the VR version of the action, so they watched using a method where they had a bird's eye view, and they could zoom in and out and switch angles at will. Oh, it's an Amazon thing? They've been having issues? I believe that. Yeah. We didn't have any of that. The show streamed on the center of the 3 televisions over the fast food counter. Tally came out from around the back to sit with us at the booth to watch. 4,006,002. That's how many people were left when the show premiered. The number continued to steadily tick down while the show aired. It made me sick to look at it, so I tried to tune it out. This is not a good way to watch show, Tally announced as the title appeared on the screen. The screen jerked around, like I was watching someone play a game on Twitch. Sorry, I had to laugh at that. The view kept randomly zooming in and out, sometimes focusing on nothing in particular. Sometimes lights flashed for no reason. It started with a commenter in the top right of the screen. I stared at the orange-hued, 4-eyed, lizard-like creature, as he, she, it, I couldn't tell, breathlessly gave a recap of last season. The sound kept cutting in and out, and I couldn't tell why. The creature sounded like it had gravel in their mouth when they spoke anyway, and even though it was speaking in Syndicate Standard, I could barely make out what they were saying. It started with a shot of a planet that looked remarkably like Earth, but with the continents all jumbled up. It zoomed in on the planet, showing buildings that appeared to almost be made of plastic, all on stilts with round pod-like mechanisms zipping about underneath. The collapse came, but instead of the buildings all sinking into the ground, they were swept away, rolling to the side like they'd been sucked up by an invisible vacuum. Next came a view of a building that looked similar to the Roman Colosseum, only bigger. The arena had multiple floors, mazes, and a level filled entirely with water. On the exterior of the building, which appeared to be the size of an entire city, was written, "The Squim Conglomerate presents Battle for the Planet Errol." On the screen, thousands of furry, gorilla-like creatures screamed and rushed into battle against another group of similar creatures. Later, it showed a single, heavily armored gorilla stick a spear into the throat of a smaller, gray-colored gorilla riding a massive pig thing. The word "winner" appeared on the screen. The winning gorilla fell to his knees and appeared to start sobbing before the screen cut away. A round metal tube that looked like a barrel appeared on the screen for 15 seconds straight. There was no sound. Tally said it was a commercial. "I do not like last season's version of game," Tally said, shaking his furry head. "They break the people into groups, tell them their loved ones will be safe if they kill others, then everyone kill one another." "Are they?" I asked. "Are they what?" Tally asked. "Are their loved ones safe if they win?" They are safe, but they are not safe. It's better dead. Squim saps the planet dry. It leaves planet, moves on. No more atmosphere. People live after the big fight, but they don't live. Not really. Laurent at least gives people a chance. Tally's people had a chance. "So you were a crawler then?" "No," Tally said. "Not all worlds are mined or picked for the show. Sometimes they come and offer to take people in exchange for not mining world. They came, and I went. This was very long ago." "Shush," Donut said. "They're introducing us now." Next came a view of Earth. Music swelled, sounding almost like mariachi with an EDM beat. 3 lines of text scrolled across the bottom of the screen, all in different languages I couldn't read. Another 2 lines, one going up, one going down, scrolled on the right side, shrinking the viewing area. A generic, naked human male and female appeared on the screen. And the next 10 minutes were a discussion of human anatomy with inordinate amount of time spent discussing male testicles and female ovaries. I still couldn't understand most of what the commentator was saying. Then next came a long line of shots of Earth, focusing mostly on urban areas. It quickly became clear that the show was cherry-picking the shittier parts of the planet, showing shanty towns and garbage dumps, bubbling pits of mud and abandoned buildings. They were throwing in scenes from disaster films. I recognized a shot from the latest Godzilla movie. They were going out of their way to make Earth look like a nightmare. Then came the people. They were showing people shooting up drugs, killing each other, a group of kids beating the crap out of another kid, a scene from the movie Basket Case, a dead horse for some reason, a scene from that serial killer movie that won Best Picture last year, an elderly woman crying, the kid from the Charlie Bit My Finger YouTube video. Wow, Donut said, shaking her head sadly. I didn't realize Earth sucks so badly. Disgusting. That's not how it really is, I said. I paused. Not is. Was. The world is gone. They're making it look like they're the good guys saving us from ourselves. Next came a sky view version of the collapse, over a dense city I didn't recognize. Next was what appeared to be a CGI rendition of the dungeon forming below the Earth's crust. It only showed the first 3 levels, which was like an upside-down tiered pyramid. The next 40 minutes were nothing but scenes of people getting killed over and over. The vast majority of people who entered the dungeon appeared to be from India and Africa and South America. Some of them were in massive groups of 1,000 plus people. I watched them trample each other as they ran from mobs I'd never seen, from spine-covered wolves to shapeless blobs of fire to floating stingray-like creatures, which shot magic missiles from eye stalks, like the alien ships from War of the Worlds. Why did so many enter the dungeon? I asked. I had entered because I didn't have a choice. Was it the same for the others? Eventually, they started showing people surviving their encounters. A man with a broadsword cut through a group of floating eyeball things. A group of 10 people, armed with shotguns and bows and arrows, took down a nightmare pile of mouths and eyeballs and flesh. A burrow boss, the screen said, the first one defeated. It quickly showed all 10 of their mugshots and listed the contents of the silver boss boxes and the platinum weapon boxes they'd received for the achievement. They'd all received magic tomes and enchanted ranged weapons. Next, they showed a girl about 13 years old with a pair of Rottweilers. I guess she might be from South America somewhere. She wore an oversized soccer jersey that was yellow and with a thick blue stripe running across it. The girl wore an angry, determined expression on her face. The dogs ripped a cow-sized spider to shreds. Later, the same girl held a mace in her hand and had a full set of glowing silver armor. She'd kept the soccer jersey, wearing it over the armor like a tabard. One of the dogs wore what appeared to be a chainmail sweater. The other had gained the ability to shoot lightning when it barked. We were shown mugshots of her and both of her dogs. Her name was Lucia Mar. The dogs were Cece and Gustavo, 3. I still wasn't sure about the naming conventions. I guess since I was the first Carl in the dungeon, I didn't have my last initial after my official name. And since this Gustavo was a dog without a last name, he had 3 because he was the 3rd Gustavo to enter the dungeon without a surname. After that, it showed a quick rundown of several of the mobs, the images flashing by so quickly I could barely see any of them. I recognized goblins, scatterers, rats, and dozens of the monsters shown in the earlier scenes. And that was it. The announcer said something about staying tuned for a while for a rundown of the season's rules and surprises, and then something else about placing bets, but the screen snapped off and returned to the leaderboard image. We just stared at the board for several moments. That's it? Donut demanded, breaking the silence. She looked at me incredulous. After that epic battle with the Hoarder, we received no screen time? This is unacceptable. Unacceptable. Before she could rant further, an announcement came. It was the same woman who spoke when the gates first closed. Good job so far, everyone. We had 15 burrow bosses taken out and over 1,500 neighborhood bosses killed. A pair of crawlers even came across a city boss, but that ended as you might expect. Losses are right on the projected track. You'll be getting these announcements after each episode. A couple quick patch notes. The Firefinger spell should be safe to cast now. We fixed the hallway bathroom bug, so if you open the door and someone else enters, they will no longer explode. Sorry about that. Reminder, however, hallway bathrooms are personal spaces, and they can't be shared. We also fixed the unlimited toilet paper bug. Now you're only getting 1 roll per floor, so if you waste it, you're on your own. We have a long list of fixes with the new inventory system that we're working on. For right now, the two big ones we've already patched are that you can no longer transport mobs to your inventory in order to kill them. Also, any momentum an item might have while it entered inventory will no longer be preserved. It's now safe to extract items you put into inventory while moving at a high rate of speed. Remember, this inventory system is a privilege, and it's not meant to be used as a weapon. While we love and admire your creativity, any unintentional exploits will be patched. So if you find something that has an unintended feature, don't get too comfortable using it. We are now populating the staircases down to level 2. Remember, everyone, only go down the stairs early if you absolutely have to. Once you descend to the next floor, you can't go back up. Also, we're trying something new this season. If you prematurely descend, you are held in stasis until the collapse. So those of you working on your social numbers, keep that in mind. Viewers tend to lose interest quickly, and you'll shed favorites if you're not accessible for a couple days before the floor above collapses. We recommend descending to the next level no earlier than 6 hours before the scheduled collapse. If you descend during that window, there will be no stasis involved, and you'll actually get a head start over those who came before you. Good luck! Let's have a great 30 hours until the next episode tunnels. Now get out there and kill. Obviously, we need to find one of these city bosses, Donut said. That'll guarantee a feature the next episode. That's what we need to focus on. I remembered the burrow boss from the show. It had taken a group of 10 well-armed crawlers to take it down. No, I said. We need to find an exit. I pulled up my map, hoping to see a stairwell appear somewhere in the neighborhood. There was nothing. I remembered reading once that the Earth was just under 200 million square miles. There would be 75,000 entrances down to the second floor. If these staircases were distributed randomly, we were fucked. Even if the first floor was just underneath the land masses and not the entire planet, we were still screwed. I was no math wizard, but I knew that meant the stairs would be hard to find. Mordecai had said the staircase, like a safe room, would appear on the minimap, even if we hadn't explored that area yet. But even zoomed out, the map only encompassed a little more than a square mile. And when it was in normal mode, down in the corner of my vision, the map was a fourth of that. I couldn't just walk around with it zoomed out because I wouldn't be able to see anything. We had 3.5 days to find the staircase. We needed to cover a lot of ground. All right, so that was the end of chapter 14. Also, hi, Elle. Welcome in. Nice to see you. We are currently reading Dungeon Crawler Carl. I just finished chapter 14. So if those of you who have been listening have any comments or anything on the chapter, go ahead and post them now. Well, I set up for the next chapter. We're moving into chapter 15. So basically, what just happened in chapter 14, going over the brief here, is they were watching the premiere of the dungeon show that they're stuck in. It's basically like any premiere of the show, like they were doing a rundown of what's happening that season. I might have turned you into a bookworm. I'm glad. But yes, they were watching the premiere of the show. Donut is pissed that they didn't get like a feature, but we did learn about a new character. I forgot what her name is already, but she has the 2 dogs, which if you notice, there doesn't seem to be a lot of animals down there besides Carl and Donut. And so the fact that they focused on the 2 dogs and the 13-year-old girl, I don't know, seems like a bit of a what's it called? Foreshadowing, I should say. So they are deceiving the humans. Yeah, well, they're deceiving the creatures watching the humans. They make it seem like humanity's really bad and they're there to save them by creating this show, is how it was explained. So the show so Carl and Donut got sucked into this dungeon thing. The whole world did. Earth got sucked into a dungeon game controlled by like the Space Syndicate. And the Space Syndicate creates this TV show. It's like a survival show that Carl is in, and basically when they show it, they want to get a lot of views, a lot of money, and so they make it seem like, oh, this place is really horrible, we're gonna mine them, but so you don't feel bad about us mining them, we're gonna show you that they're actually just really bad for each other, so that's why we're doing it, basically. So it's like, if you've ever seen like, what's a good, like a vegan commercial, Yeah, death cells. If you've ever seen a vegan commercial, that's basically what they were doing. They're like, oh, these poor creatures, like, they're trying to get sympathy from the rest of, like, the universe and be like, no, we're doing this for a good reason because they're just bad for each other, basically. Yes, Lamus, yes, you are correct. Basically, yes. But yes. And then now it looks like they're gonna go look for the stairs to the second floor. Exciting. So we're gonna go ahead and jump into the 15th chapter. So if you have any last comments, go ahead and say them now while I take a sip of water. I'll give you a couple seconds here. I'm not exactly sure to which chapter we'll end at tonight. I'm just going until we hit 2 hours. It might go a little over 2 hours if I'm stuck in a chapter, but we're gonna go for the general 2 hour time. So we'll see what chapter we get to tonight. All right, here we go. Chapter 15, time to level collapse, 3 days, 2 hours. We've been here before, Donut said as we turned down the main corridor. This is where we came into the dungeon. Oh, hold on. I put my pants on and also I sent you how to do a clean install with your drivers. Check it when you want. Okay, I will, because I do need to know that. So does the alien base the monsters on our myths? I believe so. I believe that's how they worded it. Yes, Skelly. I think at the beginning they explained that, like, or the Goblin Dude, Mordecai, explained it as in order for the humans to comprehend what's happening, they set it up like a video game, like a D&D session. So all the creatures and monsters are supposed to be based on things that humans can comprehend, basically, is what they're saying. All right, okay, I'm going to continue. After having explored much of the area, think of Pennywise, yes. After having explored much of the area, I was starting to see a distinctive pattern to the hallways. My apartment had been a little more than half a mile from the coast of the Puget Sound. Puget Sound? The fuck? I don't know what that is. The entrance I'd gone through appeared to be the very western edge of the map. The whole area was a giant grid of equal-sized squares, with the large, wide passages acting as the borders, while the interior halls and tunnels were twisty and maze-like. Each section was still a perfect giant square, and within each square there appeared to be 4 neighborhoods. The Hoarder neighborhood was in the southeast corner of one of those squares, directly west of what was the Goblin neighborhood, right where we'd entered the dungeon. Across the hall was the domain of the llamas. Mordecai had said these first few floors weren't really covering the entire planet, and I could see now that he was correct, at least here. The dungeon was really just a condensed version of the city directly above, but more organized. I wondered what it was like in the more rural parts, if there were any entrances at all. It appeared mobs didn't even respawn in a particular neighborhood once you killed the boss, though mobs from adjacent neighborhoods had started to creep their way in. Also, the level 2 rats were just everywhere, though I never saw one in the main hall. They were nothing but a nuisance now. They'd see us, charge, and I'd either kick them or stomp them, killing them with a single blow. Near the northern edge of the Hoarder's neighborhood, we started to run across a new type of mob. Slimes. After our first encounter with those things, we had to turn back. I couldn't fight them, not without any sort of protection for my hands. The first one we came across was a simple level 2 green slime. Donut and I had both already hit level 7 by this point, and I figured it'd be simple as killing the bugs. Kicking this green slime did nothing but burn my feet. I made the mistake of trying to punch the big-sized blob, and it almost ate my arm off. As it was, I sank elbow deep into it, and my right fingerless glove dissolved right off my hand. The right arm of my leather jacket melted away. It ended up killing itself thanks to my damaged reflectability. The arm was red and bubbling and screaming with pain by the time I pulled it out of the green gelatinous mass. Hi, hi, welcome in. I received an "It Burns, Done It" achievement for that one. Thankfully, the steel chain wrapped around my knuckles remained intact. In fact, the links appeared to gleam after the fight, as if they'd been cleaned. I waited to heal, and we turned around, giving that neighborhood a wide berth. It was then, as I gazed upon the next neighborhood over, that I got an idea on how to cover more ground as quickly as possible. I pointed to the neon sign that remained blinking off the main corridor. The Tutorial Guild. It looked as it had when we first arrived. We are headed in there. Donut. Yes, okay. There will be monsters in there. Stop, I said. Please stop. I'd made the mistake of showing Donut the chat feature of the party menu. One could click on the party's name, and chat option appeared at the end of the list. For me, a virtual keyboard materialized floating before me, but after spending time with it, I figured out how to just think the words while focusing on the chat window. Ooh. Apparently, Donut, as a quadruped, yes, animal, had a completely different interface. When the messages came, they popped up with a haptic buzz in my brain, and it startled me every time. Donut spent a good 10 minutes sending me message after nonsensical message until I finally told her to stop. She had, until now. Using the chat is quite enjoyable to me, Donut said. Now I understand why Miss Beatrice was always on her phone. I wish it was connected to the internet. I think I'd have a lot of fun on the internet. It's good to have, I said, but you don't need to do it when I'm right here. It hurts my head. Also, don't type in all caps. It makes it sound like you're shouting. Okay, fine. Be a grump, she said as we approached the alleyway. Thanks to Donut's torch spell, we didn't need to carry a light when we entered the pitch-black corridor. I was expecting another goblin machine to be waiting for us, but the alley was abandoned. The place smelled of machines, oil, and pineapple. I'm okay with killing goblins, Donut said as we walked, but I don't think there will be stairs this close to the edge of the map. Remember what it looked like on the show? Each floor was smaller. I think we need to head east before we start seeing stairs. We're not going to kill the goblins, I said, indicating the tattoo on my forearm, which still appeared to the exterior of my intact left jacket arm. Not if we don't have to. We eased our way down the alley, keeping an eye out for red dots. It didn't take long. We turned a corner and 3 level 2 goblins approached, all brandishing pineapple sticks. What is with the goblins and their fruit? Donut asked as they approached, screeching. I don't know, I said. It's weird. Before they got too close, I lifted my arm, showing the tattoo. I have free passage through this area. The goblins all stopped at that. The moment I showed them the mark, their dots turned from red to white. They lowered their weapons and looked at one another, as if confused about what to do next. They started gibbering in their language. Gibbering in their language. Finally, one turned toward me. Where you get that mark, human? I had a carefully prepared answer. Hopefully they would. He blew up one of your filthy tractors, smeared 3 of your friends all over the cobblestones, Donut declared. She pointed daintily south. They're in that next neighborhood over if you want to scoop 'em up. God damn it, Donut, I whispered. The goblins stared at us with slack-jawed gazes of incredulity. I can't we're moving on. Let me do the talking. I'm the one with the brand. And I'm the one with the 37 in charisma, said Donut. They're not going to care. Watch this. She started walking toward one of the 3 goblins. You, sweetheart, she said. What's your name? The goblin began. I don't think I have a name. Most unfortunate, Donut said. I'm gonna call you B.A. She looked at the other 2 goblins. And you guys are Face and Murdoch. She looked back at me. Remind me why we're here again. I want to talk to some of the goblin engineers, I said. B.A., be a love and show us to some of your engineers. I do believe they're the gentlemen who wear culinary items upon their heads. Okay, yes, ma'am, B.A., the goblin said. Wait, Donut said. Yeah, B.A. said. Donut indicated the tiara on her head. It's not ma'am, it's Princess Donut. You got that, B.A.? Okay, Princess Donut. He turned and started marching farther north into the dungeon. What the actual fuck? I hissed at the cat. How did you know that was gonna happen? It's simple, Donut said as we walked. Mordecai told me that that the higher my charisma is, the easier it will be to get them to do what I want. As long as they can speak and their dots aren't red and they aren't a boss or a really high level, I can control them just like I control you. Mordecai says for the first 5 floors, I can talk anybody into anything. How do you think I've been getting Tally to give me 5 plates of salmon this whole time? As we walked, we passed several groups of level 2 goblins. We also saw a few types I hadn't seen before. Goblin Bombard, level 5. These bastards are more unhinged and sadistic than those guys who couldn't pass the psych exam to join the military. Bombards are experts with explosives, and they strike with a variety of ranged attacks that'll blow your socks off. If the one you're looking at right now has more than half of his fingers, then he's probably very, very dangerous. One of the bombards glared at us as we passed. The goblin indeed had all of his fingers. He tossed a small glass bomb up in the air, catching it absently as we marched past. Each of the level 2s on either side of him cringed each time the glass ball went up in the air. We turned another corner, and we entered a large workshop. At the end of this room was a wooden door, and based on the mini-map, I immediately determined beyond that door was the lair of yet another neighborhood boss. It appeared this next room over was almost identical in shape to that of the hoarder. I looked about the expansive workshop. We were surrounded by about 25 of the engineers and a smattering of others, including 2 level 7 shamankas, who stood guarding the far wall. The engineers all wore something odd on their heads, but it wasn't always pots and pans. One wore what appeared to be a hockey helmet. Another sported one of those padded helmets worn by boxers. A massive steam engine dominated the western wall, and the engineers crawled about it like ants. Wheels and cogs whirled and chugged away. On the opposite side of the room stood a line of 6 parked goblin murder dozers. These also crawled with goblin engineers. Multiple tables covered with tools and a giant greasy part lay scattered around the room. A vast pile of coal stood in the far corner near the boss room. One of the level 7s glanced in our direction and approached. She was a female goblin, standing about 5¼ feet tall, making her tower over the others. She had well-defined muscles and wore a jet-black robe. She carried a wooden staff that, oddly, also held a pineapple at the top. But this one was actually made of wood, a part of the carving. The goblin's face was filled with piercings. There had to be 50 of them. She looked like one of those body modification people who would appear on Ripley's Believe It or Not. It was hard to look at until you got used to it. The woman sneered, revealing sharpened teeth and a forked, pierced tongue. Goblin Shamanka, level 7. In case you're wondering, Shamanka is just a fancy way of saying female shaman. Goblin shamans are the leader class of all goblin clans, second only to the war chieftain, or, more rarely, the goblin warlord. They are without humor and are said, as part of their training, to have picked 2 of the following 3 actions in order to graduate Shamanka University. They have to fuck, cook, and/or eat their own parents. Most don't pick cook. And if that wasn't messed up enough, they specialize in anguish magic, a dark magic school designed to focus and enhance damage from other attacks. You may have a pass, but you are not welcome here, human, the goblin said. Not in this place. I took a deep breath. I want to buy a vehicle from you guys, or have you make me one really quick. Preferably something that I can negotiate downstairs. But I'll make what I can get. We have a lot of ground to cover, and I figured you guys could help. The goblin looked at me as if I just asked her to eat a Twinkie out of my ass. You stupid, ugly excuse for a monkey. Do you really think you can just... Oh, honey. Can we discuss what's going on here? Donna asked, interrupting the goblin. She waved a paw, indicating the jewelry in the goblin's face. Is it like some sort of performance art? Do you wear all that metal because they made you eat your parents? The shaman looked at Donut, a mask of utter outrage on her face that started to melt the moment she met the cat's eyes. It was the weirdest thing. I realized the cat was casting a spell of sorts on the goblin. Some sort of automatic charm effect? What? The goblin asked. Her voice totally changed. She, to everyone's complete surprise, sat cross-legged on the ground and leaned forward. She discarded her pineapple staff. What did you say? I mean, I guess I can see what you were going for. You have exquisite cheekbones, Donut said, but your face looks like an over-enthusiastic Brillo pad. That other lady shaman down there, she doesn't have nearly as many things in her face. Though, my word, she does have that unfortunate necklace made of bones, doesn't she? But we'll get to her later. So tell me, is it a daddy thing? The goblin didn't say anything for several moments, but then she put her face into her hands and she burst into tears. Yes. The goblin cried, It's true. Donut walked forward and sat in her lap. The other shamanka, alarmed at this new development, came running forward, but a moment later, the 2 magic users were on the ground, sobbing, clutching onto each other. The one with the bone necklace had a line of snot running down her face as she ugly cried about having to eat her father raw. Donut named the one with the facial piercings Rory, and the other Lorelei. So, Rory, Donut asked after a few minutes of the goblin sniveling, how about that vehicle my friend asked for? Is there something you can do for us? Rory wiped her face. We cannot part with a murder dozer. They are much too valuable, and the chieftain would literally kill us. But I will have them make a human-sized chopper, one with a sidecar. She indicated the line of a two-wheeled contraption leaning up against the wall near the bulldozers. They appeared to be steam-powered bicycles. But we can't do it for free. You gotta trade something. I have all sorts of stuff, I said. I pulled up my inventory. I selected the satchel of gunpowder, and it appeared in my hands. It was a heavy leather sack. I wanted to keep the stuff, but I wanted to transport more. Rory thumbed over her shoulder, indicating a line of barrels right next to the giant machine. We got fun powder. I hadn't noticed the barrels before. They all had XXX marked on them. Sparks were constantly showering off the giant steam engine. If one of those sparks landed on the barrel... To offer goblins fun powder is like offering water to a piranha, she added. This went on for a bit. I offered torches, healing potions, antidote potions, both the pet biscuits and the crawler biscuits, all of it rejected. My eyes caught something else on my list. How about this? I asked, offering up the 2 baggies of meth. Rory snatched them away. Is this all you have? 2 hits? Lorelei scrabbled at Rory's hands, coming away with one of the bags. The goblin opened the baggie, stuck a pinky in, and had a quick taste. Her eyes grew wide. This is dungeon made, Lorelei said. He didn't bring it with him from the outside. She looked at me. Where did you get it? Did you have any more? I'll tell you where to get more in exchange for that machine. One that won't blow up on us. Plus coal or whatever you need to run it, and some of those grenade things your bombards carry. I don't know, Lorelei began, looking uncertainly at the other shaman. Do it, Donut said. Deal, Rory said. Lorelei got up and started screaming orders at the engineers, who looked at her as if she had gone insane. The shamanka sent a blue bolt into the backside of one of the engineers, and they scrambled to work. Do you want to come with us? Donut asked Rory, her voice surprisingly gentle. Donut still sat in Rory's lap, and she purred as the green monster stroked her hair. The pierced goblin sighed. I can't leave the chieftain. He's terrible, soft even, but he's still the leader of my clan, my family. And even if I could go with you, I wouldn't be able to leave this floor. If we climb down the stairs, we die. You get halfway down and your body just dissolves. I've seen it myself. So, you know how this works. You know what's happening here, I asked. The goblin nodded. Her face jingled when she moved. I know enough. I know we are on the first floor. There are smart mobs, like us, and there are not so smart mobs. The deeper you get into this dungeon, the more are smart. In this burrow, we are king. Us and the gnolls and the ratkin and a few others. Most of the monsters aren't so smart. But do you know what happens in a couple days, I asked. The floor collapses, she said. Yes, but it is only you who dies when this happens. For us, we go to sleep until the next dungeon opens. We will open our eyes and it will be the same as it has been. Just another day. But one of these days, we will wake up and we will be deeper. That's what they tell us. Kill the crawlers, get better at killing, and you get to go deeper. And one day, eventually, we will be so deep that crawlers will never come, and we will finally have peace. We will have peace and a place to live and breed and have our little ones run free and not worry about killing for survival. And that was the end of chapter 15. So we got a little bit more lore on the dungeon. So we learned that the monsters, when the first floor collapses, just go to sleep. They don't die, which I'm honestly glad for because I like some of the monsters. They're kind of funny. Like, I love the goblins. They're great. Rory and Lorelei, some of my favorites. But it is kind of sad because they're also kind of just victims of the TV show of the dungeon. They don't have a choice in where they go. They can't live freely. They just hope that one day they'll go deep enough into the dungeon that no one comes and kills them, you know? But, yeah. Honestly, I like that chapter. It was a nice little short chapter. Let me set up for the next chapter. Next chapter. Boop. Alrighty. Anyone have any comments, questions, anything? I'm gonna take a couple sips of water. Oh my gosh, we're already almost at like an hour. I've only read like 2 chapters. To be fair, though, we did have a little bit of scuff in the beginning, so. But we are thriving now. Yeah, so we'll carry on. Carrying on. Chapter 16. Goblin Copper Chopper with attached sidecar. Human... Oh, what are you saying, Skelly? Nothing like a goth goblin mommy. This is worse than Hungry Game Poor Dudes. Yeah. Yes, I agree. It is worse than the Hunger Games. Also, I like a goth goblin mommy, yes. And it shows, you guys can't see it, but in the book, it actually shows a picture of her. And it's like a little, it's not a big picture, it's like a little tiny icon. And she looks just amazing. She looks great. All right, moving on to chapter 16 now. Goblin Copper Chopper with attached sidecar. Human-sized contraption. Take a junkyard bicycle, add an unreliable steam engine, remove all the bolts holding it together, replace them with chewing gum, and you get the idea. The preferred assault transport of goblin bombards, what this contraption lacks in reliability and safety, it makes up for in absolutely nothing. I'll Discord the image later, trust. You'll just have to remind me. I took a step back and admired the vehicle. Like the description said, it looked a lot like a crackhead's bicycle. The framework was made of welded-together copper bits of varying patinas. Thankfully, they'd made this one a little bigger to fit me, but even then, it's still probably a bit too small to be comfortable. The two wheels were solid and black, made of some unknown material. The seat appeared to be an alligator skull with white fur lining the top, giving it the impression that the skull was wearing an Andy Warhol wig. The engine sat in the middle of the chassis thumping. A hopper extended from the engine, opening up near the handlebars. I would have to periodically toss a lump of coal in there. What about the water, I asked, and how do I turn it off? It's a permacube, the engineer said. We won't run out until you die of old age. You don't churn it off. Just let it run out of coal. Toss in a lump and it'll start up on its own after a minute. We don't use the lesser demons to run our steam engines like some do. This is just as good, and this baby will outlast you. He slapped the side of the bike, and the handlebars fell off, clattering to the ground. He cursed and bent to pick them up. He started reattaching them to the frame with a wrench. The detachable sidecar was nothing more than a bar, a single wheel affixed to a colossal spring, and another, smaller, fur-lined skull that was supposed to be the seat. This skull looked like it was from some flat-headed orc creature. A pair of bones provided a backrest. Donut jumped up a few times, circled, sat down, then jumped off. She started demanding some changes of the engineers. They were currently painting the backrest purple after adding an extra layer of fur. The bike was heavy, heavier than it looked, but thankfully I could lift it off the ground for just long enough to be able to pop it into my inventory. It's not going to blow up on me, is it? That dozer thing exploded after it hit the wall. That dozer wouldn't have blown up if you had twisted the relief valve, the engineer said. He pointed to a pair of identical spigots on the side of the bike. If it gets too hot, twist that one right there, and it won't blow. If the pressure is too high, twist the other one. Don't mix it up, or you make it worse. How will I know if it's too hot, or if the pressure's too high? There are no gauges. He smiled, revealing a row of sharp teeth. Don't you worry about that, human. You will know. Just listen to the chopper. It will tell you. The engineer had pointed at the stack of coal that reached the ceiling, telling me to grab all I could carry. I sneaked around the back of the heap and took a metric fuck-ton of the stuff. I had 3 piles of 999 coal lumps before the heap started to look noticeably lower. It was time to jet. Both Rory and Lorelei had disappeared while the goblin engineers worked. They reappeared now. Both of them were blitzed. Rory's eyes were noticeably slitted, and Lorelei danced seductively toward me as we prepared to leave. Want to have some fun before you go? Lorelei asked, grasping the front of my tattered jacket. Her breath smelled of rotten fish. She'd removed her bone necklace. I said. Oh, sweetie, said Donut. As amusing as I would find it to watch Carl here disappoint yet another woman, we're on a schedule. Banging monster girls is not the narrative we're going for with this story. Maybe next time. Sure, but you look me up later, okay? The goblin said. She reached up and booped me on the nose. It'd be nice to fuck someone and not have to eat them afterward. She sighed and turned toward one of the bombards. You, she said, meet me in my chambers after lights out, and take a bath first. Rory handed me a bag. I examined it, and it was filled to the brim with dynamite and several types of small bombs and grenades. Remembering how dangerous the stuff was, I quickly added it to my inventory. I'd examine the items from there. Rory turned to Donut. Okay, we had a deal. Where'd you find the stuff? The drugs? Donut asked. It's just one neighborhood over, on the other side of the road. We got it from one of those llamas. I knew it, she said. She turned toward another bombard. Gear up. They've been holding out on us. We're rolling on them in 5. I stood, bewildered as all around me the goblins from the level 2 standard goblins to the engineers to the bombards burst into a screeching frenzy of activity. The murder dozers growled like dinosaurs as goblins piled on. 4 copper choppers similar to my own roared to life. The bombards all donned metal helmets with a German-style spike at the tip. The tips glistened, shooting sparks. The goblins could light their dynamite sticks and bombs just by raising them over their heads. One by one, the choppers and dozer transports rumbled away, filled with screaming goblins. A minute later, and we were alone in the room. Did that just happen? I asked, spinning to see if we truly were alone. We were. Did we really just start a meth war between the goblins and the llamas? Yes, we did, Donut said. Just like I planned it. Just like I planned. It went pretty well, don't you think? She indicated the door at the far side of the room. So, you want to go in there and kill their chieftain? I could really use another boss box. I examined the large room we were in. The goblins had abandoned a ton of stuff. Just like that. I didn't see any weapons or armor, but there were piles of engineering supplies. Wires, cogs, dynamite, gunpowder, or as they called it, fun powder. Barrels of it. I had a simple cart used to transport the barrel from one area to the next. We need to loot everything we can, I said, looking around. Everything. And then we kill the chieftain, right? I looked at the door. The last time we'd fought a boss, I'd had to pummel a scared woman to death. I could still feel her face crunching under my fists. We had no idea what was behind that door, but the support creatures of this area were significantly stronger than the ones guarding the last boss room. It'd be dumb to go in there. Really, really dumb. Besides, it'd be the ultimate dick move after they'd help us. Yeah. And then we killed the chieftain, I said. Donut hopped up and down, her tail swishing. This is going to make exquisite television. And that was the end of chapter 16. That one was a shorter chapter. I think it's hilarious because, let's be honest, if this was a video game and you were playing as Carl and Donut and you realize that after you talk to these goblins that you can literally just go and betray them, do not tell me you guys would not do that, because I know damn well you all would do that shit. You'd be like, oh, they're all gone. Oh, their stuff just suddenly disappeared into my inventory. And then you kill their, like, boss. Yeah, I know all of you would fucking do that shit. I know you guys would. And you cannot tell me otherwise. Let me set up for chapter 17 here. I'm gonna take some... My throat is so dry tonight, and I don't know why. I would take their things but leave their boss. Well, here's the thing, though. If you take all their things without killing the boss... Because if I think how they have it set up is if the boss is still alive, they can keep coming back. Like, they could keep creating more monsters. So if you leave the boss alive but take all their stuff, you're going to have an angry horde of, like, unending goblins coming after you until you can escape to the second floor. So it's just easier, you know, to just kill the boss, too. And take the boss stuff, you know? Personally. Although maybe me and the Goblin Girl would be doing other stuff. Yeah. Alright. We're going on to the next chapter. Chapter 17. Hold on, chapter 17 is a really short chapter too. So let's read chapter 17 here. It's a short one, this one. My inventory had about 10 new tabs by the time we were done clearing out the Goblin Workshop. I took another 5 piles of coal. We looted tons of tools, from shovels to wrenches to hammers. Most of them were much too small to use as weapons, but I hate the cat. I love Princess Donut. I don't know what you're talking about. But I would examine them all later to make sure. We had engineering supplies, coils and coils of wick, multiple types of explosives, about 50 gallons of various alchemical liquids, and a pile of those black discs they used for chopper tires. I even took all the tables I could lift. By the time we were done, all that was left were some of the bigger tables, the giant steam engine, a greatly reduced pile of coal, and a set of barrels with XXX on them, all placed neatly on the cart and tied down with the length of a rope. I had managed to take almost a ton of the black powder, but it required me using the discarded leather sacks they had lying around. This stuff was distinctly the old school, coarse black powder, not the more refined smokeless powder used in modern firearms. I wasn't quite strong enough to lift the barrel until they were less than half full, but when they did get that empty, I didn't put them in my inventory. Instead, I lifted the barrels and placed them on the cart. We placed the cart in front of the door to the boss room. On top of the powder, I placed shovelfuls of nuts, bolts, and other metal odds and ends. Then I placed the tops back on the barrels before an errant spark from the still humming steam engine blew us all to hell. Donut directed the action from the seat of her sidecar. I would put the chopper into my inventory before we proceeded. "Do you think Roaring Lorelei will be mad at me?" Donut asked as we prepared the trigger. Unlike last time, I wasn't going to use plain goblin dynamite, which was inherently unstable. I found a blob of a C4-like explosive called hobgoblin pus that was detonated with an actual trigger. There was only a small amount of the material, but the description said it caused a big explosion. I had the sense that it was valuable, probably the real prize of this room. I was going to use it all. Next to the hobgoblin pus was a set of magical triggers. There were only 3 of the mechanisms, and I had to waste one in order to test it, to see how they worked. The triggers were both genius and foolproof. You broke the tip off of the mechanism, which looked like a stick of underarm deodorant. You stick the broken off part into the explosive, and you press the button to set it off. Easy. The detonators were single use, but you could break off about 10 pieces for each stick, so you could simultaneously blow 10 different bombs. It had a 5-second countdown after you pressed the button. The description said the trigger had a range of about 10 kilometers. "Will they be mad?" "Probably," I said. "But Rory doesn't seem to like this boss guy too much, so who knows? I hope we never find out." "Do you think this is enough?" Donut asked, looking over the 4 barrels. "I feel as if it's not enough." I shrugged. "Black powder isn't really meant for blowing stuff up, but it's good at throwing metal. If he's in there and out in the open, we'll turn this guy into a pincushion for sure. But I doubt the explosion itself is going to be bigger than when that murder dozer blew up. Either way, if this doesn't kill him, more probably wouldn't either." I read that weird. "Either way, if this doesn't kill him, more probably wouldn't either." The plan was a more refined version of what we had done with the Hoarder. From what I could see, the room that this war chieftain occupied was identical in size and shape to the one from the last boss battle. This was still the first floor, after all, so I doubted the guy was that powerful. We were going to open the door, push the cart in, close the door, run until we had several walls between us, and hit the trigger. If we killed the boss, we'd get a notification and a star by our names. If we didn't, we'd keep running. We'd pull out the chopper and put some distance between us and the whole neighborhood, and forget this ever happened. I'd put a hunk of the hobgoblin pus in each barrel, and I added the last of it to the top of the first barrel. I placed the detonator into the pus, sticking half out of... I feel like I'm not saying that right. Pus, yes. Sticking half out of it. I tried to make it look obvious, but not overly obvious. If the Goblin Chieftain had time to react, he'd hopefully spend his last moments digging the detonator out of this chunk of explosive, not realizing we had 4 more ready to go, buried in each of the barrels. It was a chicken shit way to do it, but I didn't care. Not when one got locked in the room with the boss otherwise. "You ready, Princess?" I asked. I stood directly behind the cart, poised to shove. I'd pulled it back a good 10 feet, just enough to give me momentum. Donut would open the door using her menu, eyeball the room to make sure the path was clear, tell me to go, then slam the door after I heaved. Hopefully, the floor would be flat enough for the cart to travel a good distance. "Ready," she said. "I'm opening the door now." From my vantage, I couldn't see into the room, but I heard the heavy creak of the door yawning open. "Do it!" Donut cried. I kicked my legs and I crashed into the cart like it was a football sled. I greased the wheels and the heavy cart moved quickly and easily. I shoved with all my might and watched the cart rocket into the room as the large door slammed. Donut had already turned and was bolting for the exit on the opposite side of the room. I scrambled up and followed. We'd practiced this part. We turned 3 times, making sure we were out of line of the direct blast. I didn't want to wait too long. but we had to put a few large rooms between us in case there was a shockwave that needed to be dispersed. We stopped at the prearranged spot, and I leaned against the wall, my heart thrashing. I pulled the detonator trigger from my inventory. Did you see him? Was there a giant goblin in there? I asked. Donut heaved for breath. Yes, a huge, ugly goblin. My word, I do not like running. He was sitting down, reading a book. Blow it. Blow it good. I jammed the button. There sure were a lot of babies in there, too. Oh, Donut said in that last moment before the blast. That was the end of chapter 17. Can I just say, one of my favorite ways this book has ever ended a chapter. There sure were a lot of babies in there too. So yeah. I don't know if you remember, but in the previous chapter, the cat is an ass. No, you literally. But I love Princess Donut. But if you remember, Rory, the goblin with all the like face piercings and stuff, was like, "Oh yeah, our boss is just such a soft guy." I don't know if you picked up. The boss was literally the goblin boss, raises all of the babies, which is why they were all in the room with him. Yeah, they all dead in there. But who knows? Maybe not. We'll see. We'll go on to chapter 18 here. Let me take a sip of water. I'm trying to drink more water, guys. All right. Are we ready? Chapter 18. God damn it, Donut, I said. We'd both been knocked over, but unhurt, by the shockwave. It had been bigger than I'd expected. Dust cascaded from the ceiling. A terrible hissing noise followed the explosion. I suspected it was from the boiler of the giant engine. The whistling noise eased over the next several minutes. I'm unshrimping. Ugh, rude. I suspected it was from the boiler of the giant engine. The whistling noise eased over the next several minutes. Occasional smaller blasts went off, but eventually even those stopped. An entire wall of notifications appeared, most of them achievements. But we had indeed... Oh, sorry. I just burped a little. My bad. I had a good dinner, listen. But we had indeed killed the neighborhood boss. There was no fanfare this time, but another bronze star appeared by both of our names. Were there really babies in there? Like goblin babies? I asked. Oh, yes. There were a bunch of them. I only saw them for but a moment, but they were quite cute. Some of them were wearing little oversized jackets, like Baby Yoda. Adorable. I think you hit the one with the cart. There were old ones and pregnant ones, too. Did you see your level? We're both level 8 now. You're welcome. Donut looked up into the air. We didn't get to see our faces all big. Oh, wait. We didn't get to see our faces all big. I suppose they don't do the boss battle graphic thing if you're not locked in the room with them. That's too bad. It's quite entertaining. God damn it, I said again. I was all about killing as many goblins and monsters as I could, but killing babies? That was pretty fucked up, and I wasn't sure how I felt about it. Actually, I knew exactly how I felt about it. It made me feel like an asshole. I didn't like feeling like an asshole. I stared at that blinking box of achievement notifications. I sighed. I didn't even want to click on the box. What? Donut said, looking up with what appeared to be genuine curiosity. It's not like they didn't have it coming. You didn't ask to be here. They're goblins. What kind of vile monster tricks babies in the boss room anyway, or sticks babies in the boss room anyway? I shook my head. We need to get back over there, grab the neighborhood map, and get our asses out of Dodge before the others return. They're probably on their way now. There's no way they didn't hear that. We'll go north, heading into the next neighborhood over. The workshop had been completely obliterated. All that was left was blackened rubble. The lights on the walls were all out, but the entire north side of the room was a 15-foot wall of fire. The smoke billowed. I absently noted that the smoke was being sucked away into the ceiling. The dungeon masters were cheating, offering some sort of ventilation system. Otherwise, this entire area would have been filled with black smoke by now. We could only take a couple steps into the room before it got too hot. I looked about. The large tables were just gone. Large chunks of stone had fallen from the ceiling. Donut jumped on my shoulder as I examined the room. The boiler on the enormous steam engine looked like a baked potato that had been peeled open with a bunch of copper sticks coming out from it, like tentacles. A steady cloud of angry steam still hissed from the interior of the wreckage, mixed with the black smoke. The room was ankle deep in water, and the water sizzled and steamed as it came into contact with the burning wall. We probably should have taken all of the coal from that pile, not just half of it. We're not getting to that dead boss now. She was right. The coal had ignited, and now our only way into the boss chamber was blocked off. I was relieved. I wanted that map, but not as much as I didn't want to go in there. I didn't want to see the dead babies and other goblins. I felt sick thinking about it. I noticed the line of white dots on the edge of the mini-map headed in our direction. The dots wouldn't be white for long. Donut's charisma had ticked up to 39 once she hit level 8, but I doubted even that would be enough to save us once they saw what we'd done. Let's get the hell out of here, I said. I plotted out a quick escape leading us into an unknown territory. We'd have to fight through a quadrant we hadn't explored yet before we could get to another area, or another artery. Hopefully it wasn't filled with slimes or some other mob I couldn't handle. Maybe there'd be a safe room to rest in, to sit back and figure out all these new achievements. From there, we'd take the chopper and try to find a set of stairs. I must admit, Donut said as we jogged away, I do like it when you blow stuff up. I like it a lot. And that was the end of chapter 18. Another short chapter. Sometimes they have really short chapters, and then sometimes they just have long as fuck chapters. Like this next chapter, I think is pretty long. It's a couple pages long. But sometimes they have really short chapters, and sometimes they have really long chapters. But yes, they killed a room of baby goblins and pregnant goblins. Ugh. And yeah, they just blew them all up, every single one of them. And of course, well, Carl didn't know that, but Princess definitely did, and was just like, yeah, we're just gonna go for it. But they did get achievements, and I'm curious to see what the achievements are. All right, chapter 19. Let me take another sip. Yep, nothing like an XP farm. Damn, that cat be causing the Holocaust. I mean, you're not wrong. I mean, but was she wrong though? She was like, you need to like get all the XP. We leveled up. Like, if you were playing if you were playing this as a video game, think of it like not like them actually being there. Like if they were playing a video game, they would probably still do the same thing, like the XP farming. But Carl's in the dilemma of like, no, this is like actually real lives that we're like killing, and Donut is like in the aspect of like, I don't give a shit. Like, we're getting more powerful type deal. Anyway, chapter 19. Here we go. Time to level collapse. 2 days, 18 hours. New achievement. You monster. You have killed an infant. An infant. Okay. Unless you're a complete psychopath. We know you probably didn't wake up this morning and tell yourself, today is the day I'm going to slaughter a child. Well, let us put your mind at ease. All children mobs who die within this dungeon don't actually perish. They're transferred to a holding area where they're safe and treated nicely and gently until they can be reunited with their loving parents at the end of the season. Feel better? Good. Reward. These past 20 seconds, when your conscience started to ease, that was your reward. It was also a lie. That baby is dead, and it's dead because of you. You're totally going to hell. You've also received a bronze assholes box. New achievement, war criminal. You have killed more than 20 non-combatants in a single attack. Question, what's the only thing standing between an innocent child and a happy, fulfilling life? Answer, you. The answer is you. Reward, you've received a gold asshole box. We'd found a safe room halfway through the neighborhood of the rot stickers. The monsters are small and round. They look like little black-hued raviolis that ran on the walls and ceilings and suicide bombed themselves against you. All the ones we'd seen so far were only level 1 and 2, but if they managed to stick themselves to your body, they'd explode. Each blast felt like getting hit with a sledgehammer. The attacks also inflicted takedown, an effect that was supposed to knock you on your ass. Once you hit the ground, I guess, they swarmed at your head to take you out. The little monsters were everywhere. Thankfully, my trollskin shirt negated the takedown effect. Donut remained on my shoulder, shooting missiles at the creatures. A single blast took out several at a time. So far, none had managed to get to her. She was quick that way. Despite all that happened, she was still a cat, able to jump out of the way at the last second. But just in case, I made her drink one of my iron skin potions, which upped her natural armor for several minutes. I drank one as well. The rot stickers usually focused on me anyway, the bigger and slower target. One landed directly on my inner thigh and detonated before I could get it. The effect equivalent to being kicked in the nads by a horse. I did fall down that time. If I hadn't quaffed the potion, my leg and balls might have been blown clear off. I was only saved because of a well-timed missile blast from Donut. Thankfully, the raviolis made a loud, chittering noise when they approached, and it took them about 3 seconds to detonate once they attached to your body. Once we figured out how they worked, it was easy to smash and crush them before they did too much damage. As long as we didn't get surrounded by a giant group of them, we'd probably be okay. This safe room was nothing like the last we'd enter. This was more like a small waiting area at a dingy bus station, or maybe a DMV somewhere. We still had the 3 screens in the larger bathrooms with showers, plus a water fountain, a set of 5 cots with curtains around them lined one long wall. 2 empty curtained areas appeared at the end of the row, and I wondered on that. Had they run out of cots, or were they privacy areas for those who didn't want a cot? There was no attendant, so I couldn't ask. My eyes immediately moved to the number flashing on the first screen. 3,594,517. It had slowed its mad descent toward human extinction, but it hadn't stopped. It made a low, barely audible noise every time it went down. Clink, 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 clink. Like water fast dripping from a faucet. I wondered how many of my fellow people had found a place like this and had given up. They were just hunkering down, eating, sleeping, waiting for it all to end. I shuddered. The third screen read, "Limited services at this location. Take an experience cookie, 1 per crawler per day. You deserve it." There was a plate on a table filled with what looked like chocolate chip cookies. Donut jumped up on the counter and picked it up with her mouth. She ate. A plus 9.8 experience appeared in the air over her head, rising into the air with an audible ping, 8-bit style. Being partied with her, I received the other .2 experience. She complained about me stealing her experience, and she tried to take a second cookie, but her mouth moved right through the plate like it wasn't even there. I also ate one of the stale cookies, evening it out. The 10 experience points were nothing. A single level 2 goblin was worth about 50. So this was mostly just a peculiarity of the specific safe room. It seemed every one of these rooms had something different and unique about it, and the weird cookies were this location's quirk. Looking at the map, I guess we had about half a mile to go before we reached the next artery. From there, we could pull the chopper out of my inventory and head east in search of a set of stairs. But first, rest. We had about 6 hours before the next episode. We decided to take the opportunity to sleep. Afterward, we would watch episode 2, and then we would leave. No more fucking around. We had 2.5 days. In addition to the 2 baby-killing achievements, I received several more including multiple explosive-based achievements, rewarding me with several goblin boxes. We both got another bronze boss box. I also got a gold looter box for storing more than a ton of weight in my inventory. I received multiple skill upgrades. All of my combat skills had ticked up thanks to the rot stickers, including my smush skill. My explosives handling, dangerous explosives handling, and goblin explosive skills rose to 5. I also received a new one, IED skill level 3. It's one thing to take a grenade and toss it, but it takes a set of brass balls the size of a basilisk egg to actually build a bomb, especially with the unreliable crap you find down here. Every level of this skill increases the damage yield of improvised explosive devices by 10%, and decreases the chances of catastrophic premature uh-oh by half. In addition, I received a pop-up that told me because my explosive handling skill was now 5, I would receive additional information from all bomb-type devices when I examined them. An entire new menu appeared in my interface. It was titled Demolitions Workshop. I clicked on it, but I received an error message. You may only access this menu when you're standing in front of a sapper's table. You may purchase this workbench from a safe room store. Interesting. That was something I'd explore later if we ever made it that far. Donut received numerous skills and achievements from charming the goblins. She received something called a silver beguiler box. Donut opened her boxes first. She received the usual pile of biscuits and torches and potions. From the boss box, she received her first piece of armor. The beguiler box contained a tome called Minion Army. She also received the same 2 asshole boxes I'd received. The first containing a tattoo similar to the goblin pass I'd received earlier. The second silver box contained 5 potions called Weapon Oil Weeping Wound. She was pissed about the tattoo. absolutely enraged. I hadn't seen her this upset since Angel the Cocker Spaniel crunched down and broke one of her jingly balls. What gives them the right to just defile me like this? What gives them the right? She cried. Oh my god, it's a disqualifying mark. It's a disqualifying mark, Carl. I'm damaged. The mark appeared on her back, just over her right shoulder blade. She screamed and hissed with outrage when it branded itself to her. It was hard to discern what it was. While it glowed through her fur, she had so much hair that it made it look like nothing but a gold-colored splotch. I suspected I would get one, too, in a few minutes. I gently touched it, and it let me read the description. Desperado Pass. Great. Now you're running with the type of kids who sit on the back of the bus. What would your mother say? This pass allows you to access the Desperado Club. Warning. Holding a Desperado Pass negates the ability to obtain a Vanquisher Pass. That was it. It didn't explain anything about what the hell that meant. Donut continued to bitch about it for several minutes, though. Finally, she moved on. With a pop, the silver scale armor appeared draped over the back half of her body. It reached halfway down to the floor. Oh, what? It reached halfway down to the floor. I couldn't tell how it was attached to her, but it seemed to stay put. It was like a skirt, almost, though it didn't cover her stomach. It had a slot specifically for her tail. She started turning in circles, trying to look at it. How's it look? How's it look? Does it cover the tattoo? It's fine, I said as I examined its properties. It doesn't cover the tattoo, not even close, but it looks great. Enchanted Fey Scale, quadruped Crooper of the Fleet. Boy, is that a fucking mouthful. By the gods. +2 to dexterity. Light and flexible, the scale armor is made from Fey steel. While not as strong as elven mail or even good orcish steel, it's the strongest alloy that fairy folk can wear. It's not the best protection, but it'll make your ass look oh so pretty. The Tome of Minion Army taught a spell that cost 50 spell points to cast. It caused hostile enemies to fight for you instead of against you. It was a great spell, but Donut only currently had 24 spell points, so it was useless for now. She tried reading the book anyway, but it wouldn't let her. Apparently, you couldn't teach yourself spells you couldn't cast. She pouted for a good minute straight afterwards. Don't worry, I said. We'll either trade it in for something better, or you can use it later. The last item she received was that oil, which is something one could apply to edged weapons to make the wound bleed longer. It was my turn. I also received a ton of crap. More potions, more dynamite, another lighter, a couple smoke bombs, a couple more scrolls of confusing fog. I received no pants or shoes, though. I got the exact same item from the 2 asshole boxes, though my tattoo appeared on my goddamn neck. I couldn't even see it, but it burned as it was magically applied. It's a dagger dripping blood, Donut said, examining it close. My word, is it ghastly. Miss Beatrice is going to absolutely shit when she sees it on me. From the boss box, I'd received another ring of Constitution. This one, +2. I put it on my left ring finger, bringing my score up to 12. From the gold looter box, I received a single item. A potion. Skill potion. I lost where it was. Oh, skill potion. Drinking this adds a single level to the determined value skill. Hopefully now you'll realize all those Magic the Gathering cards are nothing more than just meaningless pieces of paper, and you should have spent your money on something with actual value, like a treadmill or a shampoo. I immediately added it to my hot list and drank. Nothing seemed to happen, but when I opened up my inventory, I had a new ability. While the first level of the skill didn't tell me the actual worth of any of the items listed there, it now allowed me to sort them by value, which I did. The first item on the list was the Tome of Wisp Armor. Why are you saying, oh, screw this? What happened? Oh, did my thing pause? Oh, no. It's good. The stream's still good. I thought you were saying, oh, screw this because the stream, fucked up or something. The first item on the list was the Tome of Wisp Armor. The second one was the Chopper. And after that was the single Hobgoblin detonator I still had. Oh, the Magic the Gathering comment. I felt like that might ruffle a couple feathers when I was reading it. I was like, oh, yeah. I promise, it's just, listen, the system is an asshole, okay? The system is an asshole. Take everything it says with a grain of salt. And after that was the single Hobgoblin detonator I still had. The next several items were pieces of goblin equipment we looted from the workshop, including one of the tables, which was listed as an engineer's table. The list didn't include the items I currently had equipped. I suspected the trollskin shirt would be at the top of the list otherwise. Finally, done with our skills and loot, I decided to take a nap on the uncomfortable cot. Donut, still bitching about that tattoo, curled up with me. You monster. I tried to pry the achievement out of my head. It was just another stupid joke. The game didn't care that I killed children. It wanted me to kill them. The room was set up for it to happen exactly as it had. We were supposed to kill, or otherwise clear out the workshop. We were supposed to either blow up that room or do exactly what we did. It was a trap, just as much as the bulldozer had been a trap. And those kids had been placed there, in that room, for that express purpose. They'd existed only to die. I couldn't blame myself or feel guilty. Donut was right. This wasn't my fault. Not at all. I looked up at the ceiling. Someone had carved their initials in the cheap tile. AMW. I wonder whose they were, and when they'd carved it, if they were alive now. This place had no signs, so I couldn't tell where it had come from. It didn't feel American, but I wasn't sure. It didn't matter anymore. This was a place from my world, a place these aliens had stolen. You're not going to break me, I said. You might hurt me or kill me, but you're not going to break me. I turned on my side to sleep. On my neck, Donut coddled closer. Her new skirt thing pushed into my skin, but it felt oddly comforting. She purred so loud it vibrated my teeth. And that was the end of chapter 19. So that chapter is pretty much them just going over what loot they got, which is nice because it's like, to me personally, it feels like when you get to a safe spot in a game and you're just opening all your loot and you see all the exciting stuff you get. That's how it feels to me when I read those chapters. But I knew the Magic the Gathering comment would definitely ruffle some feathers here. So I was like, oh, but I gotta read it. But no, the system is just an ass. You'll learn that very quickly. It's just an asshole. It really is. All of the syndicate is just, they're just not the greatest. They really aren't. But yes. All right, how much time we at? Well, how long is this next chapter here? Let me look. The fact I was chatting with you about Magic before the stream, I know. You were. Ooh, chapter 20 is actually a long as fuck chapter. I'm not even sure we're going to be able to get through all of it. Well, actually, no, we might be able to. We've got a little over 30 minutes left. So, I think we'll read chapter 20 and that'll probably be, because the chapter 20 is a thick one. It's a lot of pages, chapter 20. So we're gonna, yeah. All right, we're gonna go ahead and start reading it. Chapter 20. I was awakened by the start of the show on the television screen. Day 2, the orange lizard-like announcer was saying. It still spoke in that odd, barely recognizable version of the Syndicate common speech. It was like trying to understand someone speaking with a deep Cajun accent. Sure, they were speaking English, but to my brain, they might as well be speaking Klingon. Do you think we'll be, on it this time? Donut asked, scrambling out of bed to sit on one of the chairs. We blew up half the dungeon. That's gotta count for something, don't you think? My word, I am so excited I could just wee. Actually, I do gotta wee. She scrambled from her chair and headed toward the woman's bathroom, which would have a litter box waiting for her. But she rocketed back from around the corner just a minute later. Carl, he's here. He's in the bathroom. The woman's bathroom. The killer. The guy who killed Rebecca W. I leaped to my feet. I immediately saw the blue dot on my map right there. How? Surely I would have noticed it the moment I woke up. I'd gotten used to keeping one eye on the map. I was always looking out for others. I mentally kicked myself as I rushed forward. I focused on the dot. Crawler Frank Q. That was him, all right. Come on, I said. I pushed my way toward the side hallway with the bathrooms. We met in the hall, the man stepping out of the restroom, smiling apologetically. We came to a stop just a few feet away from one another. We just stared for a couple moments, sizing each other up. Donut stood between my legs and started hissing. He was a tall man, lean, but not quite as tall as me. About 40. I pegged him as either military or a cop based on the way he carried himself. He was a white dude, and he hadn't shaved in a few days. Good looking, but not remarkably so. A Seahawks beanie covered what I guessed to be a bald head. He wore filthy ripped jeans and a black t-shirt. He was also equipped with what appeared to be football shoulder pads, but they were made of glowing black metal, obviously enchanted. The shoulders were spiked. It wouldn't let me examine the properties. He wore heavy boots, which I eyed jealously. I assumed he had a gun hidden away somewhere, but I didn't see it now. Instead, he carried a massive battle axe over his shoulder. The iron, single-headed weapon looked well used. He also wore a belt with a line of throwing knives. I examined his properties as he did the same to me. Crawler number 324,119, Frank Q, level 8, race human, class not yet assigned. He did not have any stars by his name, which meant he'd never killed the boss. But he had something else. 3 skulls. I knew exactly what the skulls were going to indicate even before I focused on them. Crawler killer, times 3. I suddenly felt very cold. Sorry, I didn't mean to startle your cat, the man said. He had an authoritative voice. Definitely cop, or some sort of law enforcement. They taught you to speak that way in training. That is a cat, right? I thought if I slept in the bathroom, nobody could sneak up on me. I didn't realize the bathrooms in the safe areas were different than the ones in the hallways. He paused. Where are your pants? And your shoes? Have you been walking barefoot this whole time? He looked me up and down, alternating between me and the cat, a look of wry amusement. Also, what's up with your name? Royal Bodyguard? So you were sleeping there? In the woman's bathroom? I asked, ignoring his question. He paused. He tilted his head as if deciding whether he wanted to answer or not. Yeah, he finally said. I hadn't slept in over 24 hours. I found the safe room, dragged one of those cots in there, and I passed out. I must have been out for 12 hours straight. Stupid, I know. If that was true, then he'd have been asleep when we'd arrived. Hadn't Donut used the bathroom? I couldn't remember. Donut, did you use the bathroom before we went to sleep? I did not. I went in the hallway bathroom before we found this room. I never saw your dot in the mini-map, I said. You don't see the icons of sleeping crawlers, he said. Have you ever seen someone outside your party sleeping in a safe room? Their bodies become translucent. If you touch them, their hand moves right through them. Are you from Seattle? I'm still pretty close to where I came in, but I haven't been able to find any staircases down to the 2nd level. Donut, who had been hissing and growling this whole time, couldn't take it anymore. You killed Rebecca W., she shouted. The man just stared at the cat for several moments. Holy shit, he finally said. I thought that's what I'd heard. A talking cat. This fucking place. Donut hissed in response. Behind us, I heard the clash of steel on the television screen. They started showing the day's recap. Did you know her? The man asked. Rebecca Wong? He admits it. The criminal has confessed, Donut cried. I'm gonna hit him with the magic missile. She jumped up on my shoulder and started to wiggle her butt. Wait, he said. He took a step back and held up his hands. It's not what it looks like. I didn't have a choice. We didn't know her, I said. We just came across her body. He seemed to relax. Look, I can explain, he said. It wasn't just her. There were 5 of them. My partner got 1, I got 3, and you would not believe the thing that killed the 5th guy. It's a long story. Can you, put down your cat? Put me down? That's not what he meant. I said, Donut, chill. This was the first living human we'd run across, and I wanted to get his story. I didn't trust him as far as I could throw him, but I wanted to hear what he had to say first. Donut grumbled something under her breath. Where's your partner? I asked. He paused. She's dead. Shot. After a moment, I nodded. Let's go to the other room. We're missing the show. We can talk in there. Okay, he said. He warily eyed Donut, who made a spitting noise. Her fur was completely poofed out. Did you see the last episode? I asked. Yes, the man, Frank, said. He took a seat about 10 feet away near the exit. He draped his left arm over the chair, trying to appear casual, but I could see his entire body was tense. There's another rest area about 3 miles east of here. That one has a restaurant in it. That whole block is now overrun with thorny, creeping plants that will eat you whole. I found this place while looking for the stairs. The rot stickers outside pack a punch. On the screen, it showed a group of about 40 Middle Eastern men fighting a burrow boss. The creature was an armored, elephant-sized, 6-legged rhinoceros-like monstrosity with tentacles on its back. The tentacles seemed to have an ability that turned the men into stone. The monster had been hurt badly, but it ended up killing all 40 of the men. Half of them had been turned to stone. A moment later, the creature fell over and died. The display froze, and Match Draw appeared on the screen. Tell us your story, I said, and then we'll tell you ours. I kept one eye on the screen, which was showing one adventuring disaster after another, and one eye on the man as he recounted his tale. Frank claimed he had his partner, a woman named Maggie, Frank claimed he and his partner, a woman named Maggie, worked for customs enforcement, which was a nice way of saying he was a Fed, and he worked for ICE. They'd been in plain clothes outside in that ridiculously cold weather, doing some sort of surveillance on a warehouse. The place was right on the water, supposedly employing a large group of undocumented Chinese workers. When the collapse came, the warehouse disappeared, revealing a group of about 15 men and women who'd been outside, smoking on a patio. Frank and his partner identified themselves, and everyone just started shooting at each other. The dungeon opened up right in the middle of the firefight. His partner, Maggie, stumbled into the stairwell, and it wouldn't let go of her. So he went in with her. 5 of the others, for reasons he couldn't fathom, followed them in. He went on to recount a firefight in the hallway of a confrontation with their leader, Rebecca W., who'd shot him 3 times before he got her right in the heart. He thought he was going to die, but he'd healed amazingly fast. He looted her body and chased down the last one, only to see the man get eaten by a plant monster. A thing that came out of a giant pod. It was called a vine creeper. I'd seen one of them during the show's premiere, from there, Frank found a tutorial guild. His wounds were fully healed, and here he was. He'd been using his gun and the ones he looted from the others, but he was now out of ammo. That one, he said. Rebecca Wong. She was the boss of the operation, a human trafficker, a modern-day slave driver. We were days away from taking down the whole operation. You poor man, Donut said at the end of his story. Her demeanor toward him had made a complete charm. I am just devastated about your partner. He shrugged. I appreciate that. He went up and grabbed a cookie. He ate it, and the 9.8 XP notification dinged over his head. Was this Rebecca, the one who killed your partner? I asked. I watched the notification over the man's head fade away. No, he said, shaking his head. The man sat back down. It was one of her goons, the same guy who got killed by the vine creeper. He shot Maggie. The man lowered his head. The show had moved to the second half of the program, showing humans who were performing well. A woman dressed in snow gear and what looked like a Valkyrie helmet had an enchanted crossbow that shot firebolts. It showed her plowing through a group of dog-faced goblin things. Gnolls. Hey, I said, since you looted those guys you killed, I don't suppose you have any pants that might fit me in that bag of yours. Or shoes? He paused. Sure, boss, if you don't mind wearing the clothes of a dead man. Carl. Donut, do not say anything out loud. Can you see this? What is happening? Don't type in all caps. I think Frank is going to try to hurt and incapacitate us. This is important. Do not react. Do not fight back at all. Whatever you do, don't fire a magic missile. Just let it happen. Trust me on this. I'm going to present an opening. I want to entice him into action. What do you mean? Frank is an American hero. Frank is full of shit. He's lying. I think there might be somebody else in here with us, and they're getting ready to jump us. I'll explain in a minute. We're going to have to run. Get ready. I do not like this, Carl. A pair of khaki pants appeared in his hand. They had an enormous bloodstain down the side of them. He tossed them to me. These are the biggest pants I have. I don't know if they'll fit you or not. I have a couple of pairs of shoes in here too, but it doesn't say what their sizes are. Thanks, I said. I paused, waiting to see if he would toss me a pair of shoes, but he was making a show of pretending to sort through his inventory. He wanted me to try the pants on first, which I noticed right away were much too small, and they were woman's pants. I sighed. Oh well. I stirred and turned my back. I made motions like I was pulling my knee pads off. Everything that happened next occurred over the course of less than a second. I saw a blue dot appear in the bathroom hallway just as the woman emerged from around the corner. At the same moment, Donut leaped into the air with a panicked yell as Frank pulled his weapon from his inventory and fired at the cat. The woman, pistol aimed directly at my head, also fired. On the television, Lucia Marr, along with her 2 Rottweilers, Cece and Gustavo III, tore through a group of red demon-like monsters. The girl was like a demon herself, savagely swinging her mace. Donut landed on the table with the cookies. Her body slid, moving through the plate, which disappeared and reappeared as if it wasn't really there. Her feet scrambled as she plummeted off the edge of the table. She hit the floor and bounced back up, screaming at the top of her lungs, Carl! Carl, help! I'm here, I said. We gotta go now. We have less than 2 minutes. She paused, looking She paused, looking back and forth between me and the 2 frozen crawlers. Both had the word naughty blazing over their head. I recounted my earlier discussion with Mordecai. This was after Donut had eaten the enhanced pet biscuit and while we waited for her to transform. You said they teleport out of here if she turns into a monster. So monsters can't ever get into safe areas. What if I leave the door open? They won't be able to wander in? Oh, they'll wander in, Mordecai said. Always close the door. If it's a mob, it'll teleport away the moment it attacks you. But they'll trash the place too. What if Donut doesn't turn into a monster, but she also doesn't recognize me? She sometimes bites people she doesn't recognize. Will she teleport away then? No, it's different for crawlers. There's no violence and no stealing in the safe room. It's a strict ironclad rule. You get 3 strikes the first time. You freeze in place for about 100 seconds while you get an automated lecture on playing nice. The second time it's for an hour. The third time you're stripped of all your gear and teleported into a mob nest. So when Frank Q and his partner, her name really was Maggie Mai, decided to kill us to take our gear, whatever the hell they were doing, they made the mistake of using a safe area as their point of attack. It obviously was their first and last attempt at doing it that way. But how did you know? Donut cried, looking between the 2 frozen people. They had been frozen the very moment they'd pulled the triggers. The bullets didn't appear to have even left the barrels yet. Are you psychic? And where did this lady come from? I just don't understand. This is very distressing. We don't have time, I said as I added the pants to my inventory. I had a vague notion to pick Frank up, rearrange him so his gun was facing his partner, but I was afraid the system would count that as an act of violence on my part. We gotta go now. Before we rushed outside, I took a precious second to examine the attributes of Maggie Mai. She was about the same age as Frank, so around 40 years old. Athletic. A white woman with closely cropped brown hair. She wore shining metallic pants and boots. She wore a leather jacket similar to my own, though hers had both of their sleeves. She didn't appear to hold any weapons other than her gun. Crawler number 324,116. Maggie Mai. Level 9. Race human. Class not yet assigned. She had 5 skulls next to her name. Between her and Frank, they'd killed 8 people. 8. They both had the ability to go completely stealth. I doubted they had been sleeping in the bathroom. They'd likely heard that explosion from earlier and tracked us to the safe room. We left a wake of dead rot stickers along the way, a literal path of destruction to the space. Frank had said people turned translucent when they slept. Was that true? It certainly wasn't true for Donut, but she was also in my party. Maybe they had meant to sneak up on us and kill us in our sleep, but when they realized they couldn't, they'd gone to the bathroom to wait. Maybe the plan was to sneak up on me from behind while I went to the men's room. I didn't know. Oop. I hit a button on my computer. Fixed. There we go. We jumped outside and I plotted a path to the to the closest main artery. I downed an iron skin potion and gave one to Donut, making her drink it. A couple of red dot clusters appeared between here and there. I didn't want to waste time fighting them. The hallway was too thin, the ground too bumpy to use the chopper. Plus, one blast from a rot sticker was likely to turn the powdered bicycle into a bomb. So, we ran. I wanted to avoid the mobs if we could. Every mob we left alive was one they'd have to deal with. Why are we running? Donut asked. We can take them. I don't know if we can, I said. They both have guns. He's level 8, the same as us, and she's level 9. Getting to 9 is hard, so she probably has a lot of skills. Besides, I really don't want to have one of those skull markers by my name. Even if they have it coming, everyone else we meet won't know that. We will never get anyone to talk to us. But if we don't stop them, they'll hurt somebody else. I stopped dead in the hallway. I looked at the cat. It was very un-donut-like It was a very un-donut-like thing to say. But worse, it was the truth. God damn it, Donut, I said. I looked back over my shoulder in the direction of the safe room. They'd be awake already by now, though I suspected and hoped they wouldn't just come running. They probably were going to hurt somebody else, if they could find someone. But what could we do? Donut fired a magic missile, killing a group of the regular level 2 rats that seemed to infest every corridor regardless of neighborhood. The rats sizzled and fell onto their backs. One of them dropped a poor rat skin and rat steak. Don't take that inventory, I said. Cancel it out. Donut huffed but complied. She loved looting corpses. The person to kill a corpse had first right to loot for a couple minutes after the battle, but if they counted out the box, the corpse became fair game. I had an idea, but I didn't know if it would work. We didn't have time, but I needed to test it. I pulled out the goblin smoke bomb out of my stash, lit the wick, and then quickly added it to the rat's inventory. It let me do it. Like with most games, it allowed me to add items to the corpse's inventory as if it was a chest. The rat had a grid pattern inventory that looked as if it couldn't hold very much. This was how inventories had been for crawlers last season. I had to see if the smoke bombs remained lit. They'd said that items didn't retain their momentum, but what about this? Thanks to my level 5 in explosives handling, now when I examine incendiary items, I receive some extra information. Goblin smoke bomb. Type deflagration. Effect, opaque smoke over a 10-meter radius for 3 minutes. Status, good. Emits a stinking cloud of billowing multicolored smoke that lasts for 3 minutes before disappearing. Used to either confuse enemies or as a stage prop at their hair metal concert. It didn't say that the bomb was lit. I pulled the bomb out, and to my relief, the wick was still crackled and spat. I quickly added it back to the rat's grid. Everything was the same, but the status had changed to discharge imminent, 34 out of 100. I then examined my pile of goblin dynamite. They're all out of 50, not 100, and all of them were either in detonation imminent or danger. It appeared the danger warning appeared once the status was below 15. I gingerly removed the most unstable piece of dynamite I had, one that was 10 out of 50, and added it to the rat's inventory without lighting it. I noticed despite me handling the dynamite as carefully as I could, it had gone down to 9 out of 50. Jesus. I was lucky I hadn't blown myself to bits earlier. The next one was at 13 out of 50. I lit it and then quickly added it to the rat's inventory. If they followed, they'd likely come down the same hall. That guy had picked Rebecca W.'s corpse clean, including her clothes. People who did that were the type to loot everything. If they came across the rat, hopefully they'd think we'd been in too much of a hurry to stop and loot for ourselves. Rats didn't normally drop stuff other than skin and meat. It was suspicious as fuck, but maybe we'd get lucky. If Frank did pull the 3 items out of the rat inventory, it would literally blow up his hands. For now, it was the best we could do. Okay, I said nervously, looking over my shoulder. I remembered they could go invisible, at least on the map. Let's go. We turned and we kept running for the artery. How did you know? Donut asked as we continued to jog. He was lying. He was lying right from the start, I said. So he's not a federal agent? She asked. Her breaths were coming in wheezes, but the hallway was close. I don't know, I said. I think he might be. He talks and acts like a cop, but his whole story was bullshit. That Rebecca woman was a level 3. He said they'd got into a firefight right away, but that couldn't be true. She had that apple core in her inventory. That meant she'd gone to a tutorial guild and gotten her inventory turned on. And then he ate that cookie, and I saw he received 9.8 experience instead of 10, which meant he was in a party with someone alive. Also, he had his arm draped over the chair, and I could see he was twitching his fingers. He was typing into the chat. He hadn't figured out how to use it with just his brain. Donut stared up at me as we ran. How is it you're James Bond when it comes to strangers, but Miss Beatrice could date 3 different guys at once and you had no idea? 3 different guys? Well, you were one of them. So 2, I guess. Then again, it's 3 if you count Angel's owner. Does it count as cheating when it's with another woman? There's so many human nuances I don't understand. Of course it counts as cheating, I said. For fuck's sake. But you were always watching those videos on your iPad with the 2 women rolling around and cleaning each other. Would it have been cheating if Miss Beatrice let you watch? We're not having this conversation right now, Donut. We reached the hallway, and I pulled the chopper out of my inventory. This would be the first time we would actually drive the thing. I tossed a lump of coal into the hopper and prayed it wouldn't explode on us. As we prepared to leave, the dungeon reverberated with an announcement. It was the daily update. Hello, crawlers. Another excellent, exciting day. We are very happy to have you with us, and we hope everyone is having a great time. You're really bringing it, and we at Borant truly appreciate the enthusiasm you're giving to this production. I have a couple of announcements. First off, we want to assure everyone that we have quashed all the bugs with the new toilets. Both the exploding issue and the unfortunate suction issue with some of the units have been resolved. There was absolutely no need to be afraid of them. Those of you who have been using the hallways to relieve yourselves, please stop. We don't want to have to start using punitive measures. A couple additional patch notes. We have added support for all of the languages that were missing from our library. So for those of you who are hearing this and finally understanding what I'm saying for the first time, welcome. You'll figure the rest out, I'm sure. Also with the languages, we've implemented full cross support for native speech. So now Mandarin speakers will understand English speakers and so forth. The feral rabies debuff is now curable with a health potion or spell, and the contagion is no longer airborne. Sorry about that, New Zealand. We have removed the blender fiend mobs. The mob's difficulty level appears to be too high. Their collective gets stronger each time they blend, and after working their way through a group of 15,000 crawlers in a single day, we've been forced to take action to prevent a premature extinction event. Rest assured they will be reintroduced on a lower floor. The street preacher neighborhood boss has been upgraded to a burrow boss. In addition, we have tweaked the strength levels of a few dozen other mobs. Too many to mention here, so just be aware of that. On that last note, a lot of crawlers are heading into the stairways prematurely. Again, it's your choice, but it's probably best for you to get as much experience as you can. And just so you know for later, we won't feature you on the recap episode if viewers can't tunnel into your feed. So if you hit the stairs 3 or 4 days before collapse, you are going to miss out. That's it for now. Keep up the good work and kill, kill, kill. We didn't get to see the rest of the show, Donut said. Do you think we were on it? I doubt it, I said. I eased onto the alligator skull seat. Underneath me, the whole bike rumbled with potential energy. It had pedals like a bicycle, but it also had a throttle. I had to move the bike by pumping my legs, but once I reached the speed I wanted, I turned the throttle and the bike would lock that speed in place. It was a strange setup. The engine built into the chassis was already getting hot. I would have to spread my legs out to keep from getting burned to hell. I sighed. I really, really needed pants. Donut jumped up onto her sidecar seat. She started licking her paws as we zoomed off down the road, trying to put as much distance between us and that neighborhood as we could. And that was the end of chapter 20. We did pretty good. We read, 6 chapters in one go? Because we did 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Yeah, 6 chapters. 6 chapters tonight. We are almost halfway into the book. Almost there. Whew, that was good though. We got a lot of action this time. A lot of fight scenes and stuff. But no, I'm really enjoying our little reading streams. They bring me so much joy, and it's been getting me back into reading because I've taken a long break from reading, but doing the reading streams has really got me back into wanting to read more, and I appreciate that. But yes, on that side note, we are gonna go raid someone, so don't leave quite yet. We also I also will not be streaming tomorrow or Saturday, but again, the 2.0 debut is on Sunday, so definitely keep an eye out for that. Of course, I'll send out all the notifications and whatnot for that. Let me find someone to raid real quick. We're gonna go find someone to raid real quick before we end the stream. If you have any comments, questions, or anything about the chapter we read or about the book as a whole, go ahead and drop those in the chat while we still got time. I better. Yes, I will. Don't worry. I'm very excited for this 2.0 debut. You have no idea. Oh, I just spelled raid wrong. Alright, we're gonna go raid Seraphim because we haven't raided them in a while. Did I spell that right? I did not. Alright, travelers, I hope you have a good day, night, whatever it may be for you. Oh yes, I will send the picture in Discord. But yes, I hope you guys have a good night, day, whatever it may be for you. And hopefully I will catch you in the next stream. If not, that's okay. I will catch you later at some point. But yes, have a good night. Bye-bye.